Welcome back to Book Dive. Ready to kickstart your morning commute with another deep dive.
Let's do it.
Today we're cracking open Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Good one.
Now, if you're into self-help at all, you've probably heard of it.
Definitely a classic.
But trust me, we're going deeper than just the buzzwords.
That's right. We're going to really dissect Dweck's research and, figure out how it applies to you.
Okay, so let's start with the core concept.
This is good.
Fixed versus growth mindset.
Yeah.
For our listeners who are familiar with self-improvement, this might sound familiar.
Right.
But Dweck doesn't just skim the surface here.
No, she really goes deep.
So let's break it down.
Okay.
A fixed mindset is basically that feeling of, I'm either born with it or I'm not.
Yeah, you got it. So intelligence, talent, all predetermined.
You're stuck with whatever hand you're dealt.
Pretty much.
Sounds kind of bleak.
It can be. This mindset makes you crave that constant validation.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Every challenge becomes like a test of your worth.
Makes sense.
And failure is just terrifying.
Because it feels like a judgment on your inherent ability,
Exactly.
not a stepping stone to growth.
Right.
And if this deep dive is already resonating with you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.
Yes, please do. It really helps us out.
Okay, so let's flip the script now and talk about the growth mindset.
Right.
This is where Dweck's work gets really revolutionary.
I agree.
It's the belief that your abilities are like muscles that you can train.
You can always grow and evolve through dedication and effort.
So even if you're not a natural,
Right.
you can still become incredible at something.
Exactly. Challenges become exciting opportunities.
I love that.
Effort equals progress,
Mhm.
and setbacks, well, they're just valuable lessons.
It's all about the journey.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this is why Mindset is so much more than just another self-help book.
I agree.
Dweck doesn't just talk about the theory. She
No.
shows how these mindsets play out in the real world.
Yeah, like Michael Jordan.
Oh, the basketball legend.
What's so fascinating is that he was actually cut from his high school team.
Can you imagine that?
The guy who became a global icon was initially told he wasn't good enough.
It's wild.
That's a powerful testament to the growth mindset.
It really is. And, Jordan himself always said that his success was all about his work ethic.
Not some inherent talent.
Exactly. And if you want to learn more about his story and all of Dweck's research, be sure to check out the affiliate link in the description to grab your own copy of Mindset.
Now, this isn't just about sports, though.
No, it's not.
Dweck also shows how these mindsets impact the business world.
Yeah.
She contrasts leaders like Albert Dunlap
Oh, infamous chainsaw owl.
with someone like Lou Gerstner,
Mm,
who transformed IBM.
right.
Dunlap, with his fixed mindset, focused on ruthless cost-cutting and short-term gains.
All about appearances.
And ultimately, that led to his downfall.
And Sunbeam's collapse.
A prime example of how a fixed mindset can be so limiting.
Even though it can seem powerful in the moment, Gerstner, on the other hand, had a real growth mindset.
Okay,
He focused on fostering a culture of learning and development within IBM.
that's interesting.
He understood that real success comes from nurturing a team that's constantly evolving.
So it's not about clinging to some rigid idea of individual brilliance.
No, it's about creating an environment where people feel empowered to learn and grow.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, by the way.
Yeah.
Drop a comment below and let us know what's resonating with you so far.
Okay, so we often think about mindsets in terms of, individual achievement,
Yeah,
but they also really impact our relationships.
it's not just about your career or personal goals.
Not at all. A fixed mindset can actually sabotage your relationships.
How so?
Well, imagine constantly judging yourself and your partner, focusing on flaws instead of growth potential.
That sounds rough.
It breeds resentment and conflict.
Makes sense.
It becomes all about proving yourself worthy.
Instead of a journey of mutual growth.
Right. But a growth mindset fosters communication support and a willingness to evolve together.
You're growing as individuals, but also as a couple.
Exactly.
This is where Dweck's insights on praise become super crucial.
I agree, especially for parents and educators.
Yeah.
Her research shows that praising intelligence can actually be harmful.
Wait, so telling a kid they're smart can be a bad thing?
It can be because if they constantly hear they're smart, they become afraid to take risks. They don't want to make mistakes or try new things.
They're afraid to fail.
Yeah, failure becomes this threat to their identity as the smart kid.
So instead of focusing on inherent ability, we should praise their effort and their process.
Exactly. Praising a child's strategies, perseverance, and resilience encourages a growth mindset.
And a genuine love of learning.
They learn to see mistakes as valuable feedback.
Essential stepping stones on the path to mastery.
That's right.
This is such a valuable takeaway for anyone raising or teaching
And
children.
honestly, for all of us,
But what about us adults? Is it too late to shift to a growth mindset?
it's never too late.
Yeah.
Mindset offers some really practical strategies for recognizing those fixed mindset thoughts
Okay.
and actively challenging them.
So we need to catch ourselves when those limiting beliefs pop up.
Absolutely. And then consciously reframe those thoughts.
So instead of saying, I'm not good at this,
You say, I'm not good at this yet,
so
but I'm willing to learn and grow.
that little shift in language can make such a difference.
It really can. And Dweck uses some really great anecdotes to illustrate this concept.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, one that really resonated with me is about these students who were struggling with a challenging concept. The ones with a growth mindset reframed their thinking with the word yet.
They didn't understand it yet.
Right. But they believed they could with effort.
It's about acknowledging where you are, but not limiting your future potential.
Exactly. That yet is so powerful.
I love it. What other examples stood out to you?
There's this fascinating story about a drawing course.
Okay.
These people considered themselves completely unartistic.
Oh, wow.
But after just 5 days, they were able to create these stunning self-portraits.
Really? So
Okay.
even what we perceive as fixed talent is often just a set of learnable skills.
Precisely. It challenges that whole you either have it or you don't mentality.
Mind blown. Okay, so before we wrap up part one, there's one more concept we need to touch on.
Right.
The somebody-nobody syndrome.
Oh, yeah. This is the fear of being nobody if you don't achieve a certain level of success.
It's that belief that your worth is tied to your accomplishments.
And that external validation is the key to feeling valuable.
We'll dive deeper into this in part two.
We will.
But I'm already seeing how this fear can be so paralyzing.
It can keep you from taking risks, trying new things, and ultimately reaching your full potential.
Stay tuned for part two, where we'll unpack the somebody-nobody syndrome.
And explore even more practical tips for cultivating a growth mindset in all areas of your life.
See you there.
Bye.
Welcome back to our deep dive into mindset.
So last time we were starting to unravel this idea of this somebody-nobody syndrome.
Yeah, this fear of being nobody if you don't achieve a certain level of success.
Right, like your worth is tied to your achievement.
Exactly. And if you don't succeed well, you're basically nobody.
It's a trap that can keep people stuck.
Oh, absolutely. Stuck in a cycle of fear and inaction.
Because if your whole identity is wrapped up in being somebody based on external validation,
Right.
then you're terrified of taking risks.
You're afraid of failing.
And that fear can be so paralyzing.
It really can. Dweck uses some powerful examples to illustrate this.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, she talks about this talented young composer,
Okay.
Adam Gattel. He was hailed as a prodigy.
Wow.
But the weight of those expectations
Yeah,
that
yeah.
need to live up to the label of genius,
Right.
it really took a toll on him.
Instead of freeing him to create,
Right.
it stifled his creativity.
He felt trapped by that pressure to be somebody.
It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of tying our worth to fixed labels.
Absolutely. It highlights how a fixed mindset can actually undermine the very success it seeks.
So interesting.
Dweck talks about how this plays out in academics as well.
Oh, right.
Remember that study with the 5th graders and the mysterious test in a box?
Oh, yeah. They weren't even told what the test was about.
But they immediately started worrying.
About how their performance would reflect on their intelligence.
Exactly.
Wow.
And what's striking is how this fixed mindset thinking shows up in their language.
How so?
Well, when asked what the test measured,
Uh-huh.
they said things like, how smart you are, or how good you are at school.
It was all about labeling themselves.
It really was. Like they had internalized this idea that their worth was being judged.
Based on this one test.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder how much of that pressure comes from the messages we receive as kids, from parents, teachers, even society as a whole.
It's a good point. Dweck really delves into that, exploring how the way we praise and criticize children can shape their mindsets.
It's not just about what we say,
Right.
but the underlying messages we convey.
Exactly. Like if we constantly praise a child for being smart or talented,
They start to believe those qualities are fake.
and any failure becomes a threat to their identity.
So then on the flip side,
Yeah.
if we criticize kids for making mistakes, for not being good enough, we reinforce this fixed mindset thinking.
We create a fear of failure that can really hold them back.
So how do we break free from this fixed mindset trap?
That's the big question, right?
What are some practical strategies for cultivating a growth mindset?
Well, one key step is becoming aware of our fixed mindset triggers.
What are those?
It's those situations or thoughts that tend to activate that "I'm not good enough" voice in our heads.
Oh, I know that voice.
We all do. It might be receiving criticism,
Okay.
facing a challenge, or even comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Once we identify those triggers, though, we can start to challenge and reframe those fixed mindset thoughts.
So how do we do that?
Well, Dweck suggests asking ourselves questions like, what can I learn from this situation? Or how can I use this as an opportunity to grow?
So shifting our focus from judging ourselves.
To embracing the process of learning and development.
But it's not just about our inner monologue, is it?
No, not at all. We also need to create environments that support growth.
This applies to everything,
Yeah.
from schools and workplaces to our homes and relationships,
It's about fostering a culture of continuous learning,
where mistakes are seen as opportunities for growth.
not failure.
And that's where leadership comes in.
I agree. If we want to cultivate a growth mindset in others,
Yeah.
we need to model it ourselves,
Dweck talks about this idea of creating a growth mindset culture
where people feel safe to take risks and learn from their mistakes.
and support each other's growth.
She contrasts this with fixed mindset environments.
Where people are constantly being judged and ranked.
It leads to fear, competition, and a reluctance to try new things
It's the difference between valuing individual brilliance.
versus collective learning and development.
This really makes you think about the environments we're creating in our own lives, whether it's at work, at home, or in our communities.
Are we fostering growth or stagnation?
That's a powerful question.
Dweck also emphasizes the importance of embracing challenges
Okay,
instead of avoiding them.
we need to see them as opportunities.
Opportunities to stretch ourselves and develop our abilities.
She talks about how a growth mindset actually makes challenges more appealing,
Instead of feeling threatened, you feel energized.
motivated to tackle them head on.
Exactly. And remember, setbacks are inevitable.
Right.
But with a growth mindset, we see them as temporary,
We learn from them.
rather than letting them define us.
It's all about resilience and persistence.
Which brings us to another crucial element of cultivating a growth mindset:
What's that?
effort.
Okay.
In a fixed mindset, effort is seen as a sign of weakness.
You only need it if you're not naturally gifted.
Right. But in a growth mindset, effort is the key to unlocking your potential.
Dweck emphasizes that even geniuses have to work hard.
It's about consistent effort, dedication, and a willingness to put in the time.
To develop your abilities.
She also talks about the importance of seeking feedback and learning from others. A growth mindset makes you open to constructive criticism,
You see it as a valuable tool for improvement.
not a personal attack.
It's about being willing to step outside your comfort zone.
To be vulnerable and to ask for help when you need it,
That takes a lot of courage.
especially in a world that often values perfection and effortless success.
Dweck challenges that notion.
Reminding us that true success comes from embracing the messy process of growth.
It's about celebrating progress, not just outcomes.
And that's a powerful message for anyone who's ever felt discouraged by setbacks.
Don't forget to leave a comment below and share your thoughts on this deep dive.
We'd love to hear your insights.
And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode with your friends.
It's all about reframing our perspective and embracing the journey of learning and development.
And that's a journey that never really ends.
So true.
Well said. Stay tuned for part 3
Where we'll explore even more practical tips for cultivating a growth mindset.
and unlock your full potential. Welcome back to Book Dive. We're wrapping up our deep dive into mindset.
It's been a
A
good
book that's really challenged us to rethink how we approach pretty much everything.
I think that's fair to say.
And one of the most powerful tools that Dweck gives us is this idea of embracing the yet.
Oh yeah, the power of yet.
What do you think makes it so powerful?
I think it's that ability to shift our perspective from limitation to possibility.
Instead of saying, I can't do this,
You say, I can't do this yet,
it acknowledges where we are.
but keeps the door open for growth.
Such a subtle shift in language.
But it makes such a difference.
It transforms a dead end into a stepping stone.
I like that.
It's like, this is where I am on my journey, but I'm not defining myself by this one point in time.
Right, and that ties into another crucial aspect of cultivating a growth mindset,
What's that?
focusing on the process, not just the outcome.
Dweck really emphasizes that.
True growth comes from embracing the journey.
The effort, the strategies, the setbacks along the way.
It's about celebrating those small victories, the moments of learning and progress.
Instead of just fixating on the end goal.
Right. And this is especially important when it comes to encouraging children.
So instead of just praising them for being smart,
We can highlight the specific actions they took to achieve something.
so instead of saying, "You're so talented,"
You might say, I'm so impressed by how much effort you put into that project.
exactly. We're teaching them that their success is a result of their hard work and dedication.
Not some innate ability,
We're helping them develop a growth mindset.
where challenges are seen as opportunities for learning.
And setbacks are just part of the journey.
Right.
And, this applies to us adults as well.
Mm-hmm.
We get so caught up in that pressure to achieve.
To have it all figured out.
But Dweck reminds us that true growth is a lifelong pursuit.
It's about continually challenging ourselves to learn and evolve,
Stepping outside our comfort zones.
which can be really scary,
It's much easier to stay within the familiar.
even if it's not fulfilling.
And that's where the importance of community comes in.
Dweck highlights that a lot.
We need to surround ourselves with people who support our growth,
People who encourage us to take risks
learn from our mistakes.
and celebrate our progress no matter how small.
This might involve seeking out mentors or coaches.
Or even just friends who share a similar growth mindset.
It's about creating an environment where vulnerability and learning are embraced.
And this is where leadership becomes so important.
If we want to cultivate a growth mindset in others,
We have to model it ourselves.
we need to create cultures where people feel safe to experiment.
share ideas and learn from each other.
Because ultimately, a growth mindset isn't just about individual achievement.
It's about fostering collective growth.
Creating a world where everyone feels empowered to reach their full potential.
As we wrap up this deep dive,
Mhm.
I want to leave you with one final thought from Mindset. Dweck poses this really powerful question.
What is it?
If you knew you could not fail, what would you dare to dream and do?
Wow. That's a powerful question.
It challenges us to break free from the limitations of a fixed mindset.
And embrace the possibilities that come with a belief in our own ability to grow.
And if you're ready to explore these ideas further,
Don't forget to check out the affiliate link in the description to grab your copy of Mindset.
it's a book that can really change your life.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of exploration,
We hope you enjoyed it,
and we hope this deep dive has sparked some new insights.
inspired you to embrace the power of a growth mindset.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep into the world of ideas.